I'm Jim Engster, and welcome to a special edition of Tiger Rag Television. Collis Temple III, Collis Benton Temple, is our guest and perhaps the most versatile member of the LSU athletic family. He's an author, a business person of renown, of course played basketball, was a four-year letterman at LSU, and is from a great athletic family.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a pleasure to be here, Jim. I appreciate it.
Well, it's good to see you. And, oh, by the way, he's the vice president of the Board of Regents.
Yes. Vice chairman of the Board of Regents. Been there 5 years now, so, yep.
Well, let's start there. These are uncertain times. It's affecting
Obviously.
colleges and universities. We don't have any athletic competition right now. Do you see any end in sight?
Well, I hope that we can remedy this, but of course, really, it's not on us. I think the biggest thing that I've seen, great job by obviously the governor, great job by the head of education, Kim Hunter-Reid, and then the presidents of all the various universities, and doing the best job they can to protect the well-being of the students, and just making the tough, but in all likelihood, the right decisions for the students of Louisiana.
As you know, it's too early to tell, but the big elephant in the room is football.
Right.
Is there any possibility we're going to lose football this year?
I'm going to be honest, I don't see that happening because it's so early. I mean, obviously, okay, spring football, that's not going to happen, but that's not a necessity to the season, you know what I'm saying? And what I've heard, the absolute worst case scenario is by August. You know, one of the things that we know, one of the few things that we as novices know about this virus is that it doesn't do well in hot climates, and Louisiana definitely is a hot climate, so we should be able to, hopefully.
Let's hope the heat takes it out, but in 1918, in the Spanish flu, it went away and then came back, so it's an uncertain period, and I think that's what has people concerned.
Worried, right.
And fear is a great motivator, in athletics and in life.
Right. It definitely plays on itself. It's like a snake eating its own tail. And so I tell folks, look, we have to be smart. We have to be, but we can't be scared. You got to be smart, you got to be safe, but you can't be scared.
There was no March Madness this year. You played in 2 NCAA tournaments. That's a big part of the fabric of America.
It really is.
It seems like something is amiss right now.
Yeah, it really does. The NBA season they were talking about would be potentially just pushed back and started back up. But every day since something new is coming up, we don't fully know exactly how any of that stuff, it's all up in the air. Obviously, with March Madness being canceled, I'm 40 years old. I've never seen anything like that happen. I guess most people would admit that they've probably never seen anything like that happen either. But, it's unfortunate. But like I said, they're making tough decisions to, secure the well-being of not only the student athletes, but also the fans and everybody else involved.
Now, when you finished your career in 2003, you finished it in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
And
had an unfortunate loss to Purdue in the first round. We were favored to win, and we ended up not winning, but we did get to the round of 64.
And your freshman year, you were on one of the best teams in LSU history, kind of a forgotten team. In 2000, won 28 games. Yeah. Many people thought that team was good enough to go all the way.
I think that we were. We had a great, well-rounded team. We were pretty deep, legitimate nine deep. Myself and Ronald Dupree coming off of the bench, and we ended up the next year being the leading scorers and rebounders on the team, and then kind of doing that the rest of our careers. We had a really good team. But, a lot of times folks say, well, you were on the team that went to the Final Four, and not quite, We were on the team that was the predecessor of that team for Coach Brady,
Now, you played for Coach Brady, but you certainly have an affiliation with Dale Brown, who said he started recruiting you before you were born.
Yeah, signed a letter of intent. Yeah.
And you were a ball boy when Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf was playing.
Yes, and Shaquille. And Ricky Blanton. I was at what many may have called the apex of LSU basketball. I watched those guys, and other than the Final Four team that Coach Brady had, and the Final Four team that, of course, Dale Brown also had, when you looked at the fact that they had 4 first-rounders, Jim, on that team, one of them did not even see the court, and that was Geert Hammack. He was a first-round draft pick, last guy picked, but he didn't even get on the court, and he was on that team. as well, Stanley Roberts, Mahmoud, Shaquille, of course, as a freshman, and then Gert Hammock. Those 4 guys were all on the same team.
All first-round picks,
Yeah, all first-round picks.
But Dale Brown did better with teams that were overachievers.
Yep, he's an amazing motivator, good coach, X and O, but amazing motivator. My dad's junior year, his first year, Dale Brown's first year, if I'm not mistaken, they beat 7 or 8 of the top 10 teams in the country that year. And they weren't a great team, but they just were, grinders and tough. And I'm kind of like an LSU basketball junkie. So they a lot of history.
Well, you were born in 1979,
Yep.
and your father integrated the program in 1970, I guess.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's right.
1970,
That's
9
right.
years before you were born.
Right.
And was there any doubt that you would go to LSU?
There was a very small period of time where I did potentially question if I was going to go to LSU, and it just was because I wasn't being pursued the way I thought I needed to be as a college, as a high school senior, beginning of my senior year before I signed junior year, end of my junior year. I just thought that I was and it may very well have been, I thought I was better than I was, but you want to be pursued. And I thought about Tulane. I thought very seriously. I thought about South Florida in the Conference USA. Thought about Memphis, very strong. Tick Price and Johnny Jones was there at that time as an assistant. So those are probably my top 4 schools. But in the end, I wanted LSU, obviously, but they just weren't really pursuing me like I thought I deserved to be.
And you went to high school down the street at U High, averaged 27 points.
Yeah.
You were 6'4" then, though.
6'4", really I played all over the floor, but I was a point guard really most of my life because I grew late and could handle a ball. And at 6'4", when you're in high school, a lot of times they'll put you under the goal, but I was a point guard that could handle a ball at 6'4", a shooting guard, point guard, really all over the floor. And so, just was excited about an opportunity to play at the next level and got hurt the very first day of practice, But I thought I could add value to LSU's team that year, but everything happens for a reason. Getting hurt, having to sit out that first year, that put me in a position, Jim, to graduate in 3 years with a degree in business. So when I got to my junior year in basketball, I'd already had an undergrad degree. I was working on a master's.
And then when you got to your senior year, you were working on a
PhD. I already had the master's in place. So had I not gotten hurt that first year, which I would not have, I didn't want a red shirt, but I had to based on injuries. But it was a blessing in disguise.
Well, your brother, Garrett, is playing in the NBA and has for a long time. In fact, there are only a handful of LSU guys who have played 10 years in the National Basketball Association, and one of them is Garrett Temple.
That's correct. I'm extremely proud of Garrett. Talked to him a little bit earlier today, in fact. He's done an amazing job. He has been a phenomenal steward of his career as an athlete, and he really probably will be the one of the few professional athletes that's able to leave on his terms versus having to leave in anyone else's terms.
Well, he went in one direction, you went in another. You're a business guy with Primerica, 16 years.
Yes, sir.
You've done very well. I see you bought
Helped
a nice house recently.
Yeah. We family is very much so enjoying that, and my kids are enjoying the space. Yeah.
About to have your 4th child?
Yes. Last child. Yes. I'm excited about that with my wife, Brittany.
And one of them is named Collis.
Collis the 4th, and he will make sure that you know that he's very proud of his name. Anytime he sees Collis, he just thinks it's automatically him, which obviously I'm excited about that as well.
You think he'll play basketball?
You know what? He's a sharp kid. He's only 5, but he's going to do whatever he wants to do, and I'm going to support him in that, as well as my 2 daughters.
Well, it would be unthinkable for him not to go to LSU and play basketball.
Right.
Collis Temple.
Yes, exactly. Interestingly enough, my little sister Colleen is a very good volleyball player. She'll be playing Division I volleyball somewhere, and I don't think it'll be at LSU. So that'll be interesting. I don't think it'll be LSU, but you never know.
And she's
about 6'3".
I thought so.
And it's like a 35.
And still growing.
Yeah. She's had like a 35 on the reading part of the ACT. She's extremely intelligent, very smart. But I'll actually be pleasantly surprised if she goes to LSU. She's got a lot of options right now.
Well, we're visiting with an exceptional man from an exceptional family, and we'll have another segment with Collis Benton Temple III after this quick pause on Tiger Rag Television. This is Jim Engster, and we're continuing our face-to-face discussion with Collis Temple III. He has a great name. His father was the first African-American athlete to play basketball at LSU, and, of course, his brother Garrett is playing in the NBA after playing on a Final Four team. You played on 2 NCAA teams,
yes, sir.
Tournament teams, champion in 2000.
That's right.
But was there ever a burden carrying that name?
I never looked at it as a burden. I have been asked that question. It's been a while, obviously, because I hadn't played in a while, but I never looked at it as a burden. I really looked at it as an honor, and I wanted to make sure I lived up to that honor every single day that I was a student athlete, because that was part of what most people may consider a burden, and I considered an honor, was doing all of it. Not just being a good athlete, but making sure I was taking care of business off the court as well.
I know your dad believes in getting up early, doesn't he?
Can't get ahead staying in the bed. Can't get ahead staying in the bed. That became our mantra early on. I learned that one. He got that from his dad, and I've passed it on to my son as well.
What's worked well, and now you handle financial matters for people, and you've done well.
Yeah.
But these, talk about uncertain times. These are times that try men's souls.
Yeah, it's interesting. I tell folks it's so critical to make sure we educate folks because, when it comes to the market, we talk about buy low, sell high. But in reality, folks want to do the exact opposite. So we got to make sure we focus on financial literacy and helping people understand better, and they don't panic. Because as many have heard Warren Buffett say, he's very greedy when most folks are scared.
He's probably buying right now.
Oh Lord, like crazy, and he's very cautious when everybody else is greedy. So if you say the number one all-time investor, if that's what he's thinking, it probably is good for most of us.
You're also an author.
Yes. Wrote a book called Work Like a Slave, Think Like a Master. It's on Amazon. I have it on a personal website, www.collistemple.com as well. And it really is about, I thought the threads of success that I've been able to be blessed enough to be raised by parents that help kind of put that thought process in me. So basically, Jim, whatever I have been blessed to be a part of, whether it was as a student athlete, whether it was in business, whether it has been, just in kind of whatever I've done, the same things have applied to help me be successful. And unfortunately, what we see is a lot of athletes aren't able to cross over whatever made them so great as an athlete to life after athletics. But the same things really apply. It's just how you apply those things.
And your wife's into athletics as well?
Yeah, she was actually in 1999 the Female Athlete of the Year in Louisiana as a high school athlete. Went on and played volleyball on scholarship at Tulane and got a degree in finance and went on and played pro volleyball. But she also has a fitness company fortunately for us, it's kind of online. Fortunately in today's, she has an online deal from a fitness perspective, and she also helps me in business as well. So we're in business together.
How'd you get together?
We met here in Baton Rouge. She's from Baton Rouge, but she wasn't living in Baton Rouge at the time, and I had never met her before. Interestingly enough, she went to Southern Lab, and obviously they've a host of amazing athletes have come out of Southern Lab here in Baton Rouge. She was definitely one of those athletes. She excelled in track and field. She excelled in basketball. She excelled in volleyball, and then she also did well academically as well.
If I remember right, at one time you were a cross-country guy.
I was. In fact, it probably built the mental toughness that I had. I started running cross-country on the junior varsity team at University High when I was in the 5th grade. And so that just my wind and then the mental toughness of just don't stop. I wasn't very fast, wasn't quick, wasn't strong. So my dad found a way to put me in something that if you just don't stop, you'll have a chance to be successful. So that kind of built part of my mentality as well.
And oh, by the way, you also play the trombone.
Yes, you just found you've done some serious research, huh? Yeah, I played the trombone. I had to get out of the band after about the 10th grade because, it was in the band and the football team was playing, and I'm like, I can't, play. I cannot be the trombone player while my little brother is on the football field. So I put the trombone down, I think maybe after my freshman or sophomore year. But I was on, played trombone from 6th grade all the way up.
Well, 4 kids in these uncertain times, it's sobering for anybody, but for somebody who has a family, what are you telling your children?
Once again, just be safe, be intelligent. Sometimes, I'm the guy that had go. Mm-hmm. So sometimes my wife is telling me that before I'm telling my kids. But you just make good decisions. I mean, I have young children, so for the most part, they're not going to be going anywhere without us being in close proximity or knowing exactly where they are. So, it's just operate with a sense of intelligence.
Well, I mentioned being vice chair of the Board of Regents, and you've done that for 5 years.
5 years.
5 years. There's obviously speculation that you might run for office at some point.
Look, that's speculation that you're putting out there, okay, right? That may have been flamed by my dad. I don't have any intentions or plans of doing that anytime soon. So I'm just excited to help in whatever way I can. It was a great opportunity afforded by the governor to be on the Board of Regents, to be a part of the process, but kind of be on the outskirts of it and see all the things that go into it. It's been a great experience. I've enjoyed it, and hopefully I've been able to make part of a difference as well.
You played at 6'7", 218. I suspect you're pretty close to that right now.
I am. I'm probably maybe 222, 225, kind of back engaged, back on it, working out. You gotta make sure you stay on top of that, obviously, from a health perspective. I think part of it is I'm a little bit vain when it comes to that, too. So if I see getting a little bit up, I kind of turn it back on. But then, of course, when your wife is in that field, it makes it tough to get out of line too much. And she does not mind telling me, hey, you need to tighten up a little bit. So,
and you're one of the 10 best dressed people in Baton Rouge, according to some. So.
Well, I'm about to say, when you told me you hadn't gotten on that list yet, I said the list is flawed. So until you get on that list, I won't believe
with
it.
you. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. But
Brown and Brown Clothiers. That's my boy. I'm giving a shout out to him, Gino Brown.
That's who it is.
That's it. He keeps me right.
Well, you're looking good. And you're only 40 years old.
That's it, just turned 40.
So I know a few years ago your dad had a health episode.
Yes, he did.
He's come through that well. But that had to be a frightening thing.
It was. I remember when I walked in the room, the first question that I asked when I found out that he had been diagnosed with cancer, I just asked, okay, so what are we going to do? What do we have to do to fix it? Because he put in me, my mom put in me, us sitting and worrying, that's not going to move us forward. So the first question I want to know, okay, all right, so that's what it is. What do we need to do to fix it, and how can I be of assistance, So that's just kind of my mentality. That's my thought process. If something's wrong, there's no need of worrying about, what the problem is. Let's find out what the solution is and move on that.
But someday you'll be the patriarch of the Temple family.
I know. So hopefully that thought process will bode well. At some point, obviously we know that that's going to happen. I hope it's not for another at least 40 odd years. But my dad actually reminds me every once in a while, hey man, I'm not going to always be here.
Well, he's 67.
67.
So if he makes it another 40 years.
Right, exactly. Right, 107. Right. I don't doubt that we will, and I don't doubt we'll do that very well. But you pray every night and you hope that everything works out.
Well, it's worked out well for you, and I know there's much more to come. You got at least another 40 years.
Yes.
Collis Temple, at the age of 40, is doing great things, and he's done his city and his university proud, and it's good to catch up with you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Jim.
Take care. And we'll be back with more Tiger Rag Television after this quick pause.